Hello, my name is Andreas and I'm Head of Program Management here at Erhvervshus Sydjylland. As a partner in the STOB project, we have learned a lot about the different challenges regarding succession across Europe. By sharing knowledge and learnings in the project, we have improved our methods of supporting business transfer in our region.
In Kainuu region, 1/3 of the companies are expected to change hands in next few years. This requires a lot of support to businesses in their succession processes.
As a professional in knowledge management, this project was a great opportunity to understand different ways of knowledge transfer in business environment.
Bulgaria is at a stage where the founders of family business are old enough to pass the business on to the next generation. That's why it is now a great opportunity to apply good practices from partners' country.
As important as is to support the creation of new startups, it's very important to support business transfer for the economic development of the EU.
More than half of the companies in Poland are still in the hand of the first generation. Companies' successful handover to the younger generation is a very up-to-date challenge, both for the companies and for whole economy, as well as for the Małopolska region.
We have a long-going set statistics on business transfer. Only 30% of businesses are passed on to the next generation of founders' family. Maybe 10% is acquired by other companies. The rest, which is more than half, just disappears. This is why business succession planning is so important.
When the project started, I was not aware how important are successful business transfers in order to save jobs and to secure the quality of life, especially in rural areas.
Thank you very much for this inspiring project for Brandenburg. Thank you very much to all European partners involved in this project. And of course, thank you very much to Senny Morgan and Peter Böcking.
I want to thank you for the intensive cooperation of the last 5 years in the STOB region project and for the support of our lead partner from Frankfurt Oder. Particularly, I want to thank this project partner in Sevilla and Krakow for exciting insights and your hospitality during our stays in our partner workshops. And I want to wish you all the best and success for the future in supporting business transfers.
Yeah, hello to everybody here in our Teams channel and hello to all participants following us on YouTube. Welcome to our final conference of the STOB Regions project. Hello to all our 9 Interreg Europe partners, which you have already got to know shortly in the videos just some seconds ago. For those who are new to our project, what does STOB stand for? Succession and transfer of business and regions. And that is what it is all about. STOB Region's main task is to support sharing good practices for business transfers and to foster a greater focus on business transfers in the future cohesion policy. We will learn more about this topic later on. Let me shortly introduce myself. I am Dorothea Möckel. I'm an international project manager here at IHK Projektgesellschaft, which is the Chamber of Commerce and Industry project company in East Brandenburg. I'm very glad to meeting you all today. When my colleague Sandy asked me some couples of weeks ago to take on the role of the moderator today, I was very pleased to do so, not only for professional but also for personal reasons. Because my family-in-law is having a micro-sized company, which is a bookstore. And since a couple of years already, I can observe how long the transfer from father to son takes. This means I realize how complex the topic of transfer is on a daily basis. Now it is really encouraging for me to see all the efforts that were taken in STOB Regions project to support SME as ours on a regional and also on a European level. Let me invite you to take a short look at the agenda today, which is very diverse. In a few minutes, we will start over with the presentation of the Interreg Europe program. Then turn on with a panel discussion. Later, hear some inputs from the STOB region partners about their activities. And after that, we will see video messages sent to us by high-ranking representatives of our partner countries. And last but not least, we will learn something about the STOB moments, special experiences of the project team in the project lifetime. That is the agenda. It seems to be quite tough, but I'm convinced we will all have a good time, find some moments to breathe, take a break, drink a coffee and something. And I would like to invite you to always ask your questions. It's supposed to be an interactive event, so you can always type in the comments below or ask your questions directly at the end of each session. During the session, I would just like to mute your phones if possible, and then we can go on with the first part. I would like to turn the floor now to Camille Miloir. Hello, Camille.
Hello, good morning.
Hello. We are happy to have you with us. As the Interreg Europe team has provided us with lots of expertise and help during the past years. And you will now speak about the state of play of the Interreg Europe program. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. Yes, I will share my presentation. Okay, so hopefully now you can see my presentation. So good morning, everyone. I'm Camille Miloir. I'm the finance officer. I monitored STOB Regions project for a bit more than 3 years now. I'm happy to be here because final conferences are always an important moment, not only for the projects, but also for us to see your results. And it's also a very exciting moment for us in the lifetime of a project. So today I will give you an insight on where the program Interreg Europe is standing and some information about the future program. So I'm sure most of you know what Interreg Europe is. This program is quite unique in the Interreg landscape. It's the only program that covers all EU regions, and your partnership reflects this. We have partners from different parts of Europe. But beyond this geographical coverage, this is the only program dedicated to the improvement of regional development policies, which is an ambitious objective. We do that through exchange of experience among partners with a specific focus on structural funds, because the regulation asked us in particular to help better implementing the operational programs in the regions and member states. So that's where it has a particular role in the implementation of the cohesion policy. And we also have a very good mix of more and less advanced regions in our projects. And when you look at the statistics, we also have a high participation of peripheral regions. If we look now where we are in terms of projects, we can see that we monitor much more projects that we initially planned. We approved 258 projects. And what is interesting to see is that the majority of the European Union regions are represented in these projects. We have 90% of NUTS2 region covered, over 2,000 partners. And another interesting feature is that 1/4 of these partners are managing authorities. Despite the challenges we faced recently, projects are running very well. In terms of deliverables, you see the main figures on this slide. We have more than 4,000 good practices identified by our projects. We approved 123 pilot actions. We have more than 1,000 action plans that were produced and leading to the increased capacity of more than 15,000 person. So for these last two figures, you see that we already achieved the objectives of the program. But what is more important for us is why all the projects are doing all these activities. On this slide, you see that thanks to the project, there are already more than 700 policy improvements that have been demonstrated. Most of them are related to structural funds because, again, there is a core focus in the projects to improve the structural funds. And when it's possible, we also ask the projects, when they have a policy improvement, whether they can estimate a financial impact of this policy change. And so far, our projects have been able to demonstrate an impact on local, regional, or national funds of more than €1 billion. 1.3 actually. So this financial impact is not always easy to estimate. It's quite straightforward when it's related to the funding of a new project, for instance, but there are a lot of other changes like the improvement in the governance of the policy that cannot really be related to a financial impact. And this is why this kind of data is very carefully checked at program level. And this is also why we're quite proud of this result. This slide shows that when the program invests €1, it leads to the mobilization of €5 in the regions through the local, regional, and national means. So it's quite impressive, and it shows you the leverage effect of interregional cooperation. And I'm sure we will hear more about this today during your project presentations. And if you are interested in this, you can find all the policy changes on our website. The link is on this slide. So the projects are one thing, but another existing feature in the program is the policy learning platform. I'm sure you know this and you've been involved yourself in the policy learning platform. It provides services to any interested region in Europe, and we go from light services like publication, policy briefs, newsletter, to a bit more demanding activities like meetings, webinars, workshops, and also to the golden service, which is the expert support service, where we really try to answer specific needs of regions. And here we see so all these features. The platform has been particularly active in the last 2 years, and we've been, for instance, running 26 peer reviews. We are quite happy that Interreg Europe has managed to implement such an innovative element in this program. We cannot do this presentation without mentioning the challenges brought by the COVID crisis. We have all been impacted directly by the COVID. Obviously, when you work on the interregional cooperation, when you travel over Europe, when you meet people and visit places, of course, travel restrictions have a very significant impact on what you do. So we try to adapt and face these new challenges. More and more good practices were published by projects on the way to mitigate and to face the crisis. It was also a source of inspiration for our community. We have organized online events, and the policy learning platform has completely moved to online activities, which was also challenging, like for all of us. And last but not least, we launched a call for new activities, and STOB Regions was successful. So congratulations, because you have now also the possibility to implement additional activities. So moving now to the reason why we're here today. So STOB Regions project, we have 66 projects on SME SME competitiveness. And there are only 2 Interreg Europe projects that are focusing on exchanging good practices and solutions to support and improve mechanism for successful business transfers, so STOB regions and Success Road. Of course, you will talk about the results of your projects much better than I would. So I, of course, leave this up to you, but this slide shows the contribution of the project to the program knowledge. And today is also the opportunity to thank you and the project partners for your commitment to the project, for the great job done so far, and for contributing to enriching the knowledge gathered within the program. We can mention the active involvement in the Interreg Europe community, the valuable contributions to the services offered by the policy learning platform. The project was featured in several deliverables of the policy learning platform. 3 policy changes were already reported so far, and more to come as the project will continue exchanging on the impact of COVID-19 and on the topic of business transfer. And also several good practices that have been published on the good practice database. So once again, I would like to thank you all for these results. And now I will end this presentation briefly talking about the future program. As you know, we have started the programming process for our next program in December 2019. In February this year, the programming committee approved the draft cooperation program. We organized public consultation, and we finally got the partner states' final approval this summer. So we now expect the European Commission approval the beginning of next year, with first call that would be launched hopefully in the spring next year. It's a bit early to give you all the details, and this will anyway be tackled during events that will happen very soon, actually, that I will mention a bit later. But what I can share with you already at this stage is that we do not expect a big revolution, rather an evolution. Most of the key features will remain. Interreg Europe program would remain the only pan-European program. We would also keep our strategic focus on improving policies, and the way to achieve this objective would still be through capacity building and exchange of experience. However, a few changes can be noted. The first one is that the focus on structural funds will be lightened. It used to be half of policy instruments addressed by the project that should be structural funds programs. In the future, this will be lightened, and it might only be one structural fund program that needs to be addressed. This would also mean more freedom to propose other policies to be improved. The member states also wanted to open up the opportunities for pilot action, so there will be more possibilities to propose those also at the start of the project. And finally, in the current program, we have 4 thematic priorities, and we are bound to them. This means that we cannot finance issues not covered under those priorities. However, in the future, it has been decided to select only one priority dedicated to capacity building. So this means that potentially we could cover any topic of the cohesion policy, and this may also multiply the opportunities for you in the future of interregional cooperation. When it comes to the timing, as I said, we expect to launch the call in the first semester of of 2022. Of course, we will communicate on this, and actually this is also the opportunity for me to mention that today and tomorrow we are running in Interreg Europe our annual event, Europe Let's Cooperate. So obviously today it might be tricky for you to join and be in this final conference at the same time, but if you're interested, I invite you to join the session tomorrow, because it will be dedicated to the future program. So everything will be presented, and you will also have the opportunity to discuss project ideas with other persons connected to the event. So if you want to join, you can still register on Interreg Europe website if it's not done already. So that's it for me. I would like to thank you once again for the cooperation, to congratulate you for the results, to wish you a very good event. I might not be able to stay until the end because I have to join the team for our annual event. But I wish you a very successful event, and also all the best for the 5th call activities.
Thank you, Camille. This was very interesting to see the impact of Interreg Europe, and we are for sure looking forward to continue our collaboration with Interreg Europe. Are there so far any questions from the participants that are directly directed to Camille? Yeah, for sure, you can also applaud. It was very interesting, the speech. No comments so far? Okay, so we will say goodbye to you, Camille. Thank you for coming to see us. And yes, we will keep in touch in future, I'm sure. Have a nice day at your annual conference yourself.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. Okay, so we would then like to go on with our next point, which is the panel discussion. We have today 4 guests invited, and I'm not sure whether they are all here, but I already saw Lucina Kaminska, who is there. Yeah, there's Albert coming. Hi, Albert, nice to meet you. And yeah, I would shortly just say the names who is invited to our panel discussion. First of all, I would like to welcome Lucina Kaminska. She's a policy officer in the European Commission in the DG GROW. Then we are glad to have with us Albert Colomier, ESPNA from Transeo. Transeo is an international association for business transfer and acquisition of SME, thus an important NGO in the European field. Third, we have Dr. Mark Evers. Are you already there? Head of Division of the Association of German Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I cannot see him so far, but maybe he's joining us in a few minutes. And last but not least, we welcome Tomasz Budziak, the Deputy Chairman of Family Business Initiative Association in Poland. You're there from Warsaw. Nice to see you. And now I just see Dr. Mark Evers is also turning up. So all the 4 of you are there. It's very nice. Maybe you can just start to shortly present yourself and your institution. What is the task of your institution when it comes to business transfer? And I would like to start with our woman. So Lucina, maybe you can just shortly present where you come from and why you're dealing with this topic.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you for the invitation to join the final conference of the STOB Regions project. It's great to be here and see the whole good work done. I work in the European Commission, DG GROW, in the unit SMEs, and I'm dealing with business transfers and prevention of insolvency, partly startups and some other projects. So I have a few hats in our unit. So transfer of business is one of the topics I'm dealing with. We work on the topic in the Commission since over 30 years, and a lot has been done. We started in 1994, and I will then perhaps later on say a little bit more what has been done throughout these years. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Albert Colomé.
Hello and good morning to all. Thanks for having me and to have the opportunity to address all of you. As Dorothea has said, my name is Albert Colomer, ESPNet. I'm coming from Barcelona. I'm Transeo board member and the head of the public relations of Transeo, and also founder and director of one of the most successful market in Europe around the transfer business, called the Centre of Empresa in Catalonia. Transeo is an international community bringing together experts in transfer and acquisition as of medium and sized business. We are a non-for-profit organization. We are fostering friendly environment and ecosystem for transfer and acquisitions, and therefore facilitating business transfer across Europe and beyond. After 10 years of existence, Transeo now gathers 78 members from 17 countries. Transeo focuses on transfer of acquisitions of small and medium-sized businesses, whatever the kind of transfer or ownership. Family succession, management buyouts, management buy-in, employee buyout, strategic acquisitions, and transactions in the so-called small market from thousands, 20,000 to 20 million. Then this wide number of companies involved on this situation. About the key activities of Transeo promoting transfers and acquisitions, we are serving as a platform for exchanging good practices, as STOB has done during the last few years. But we are doing this as our currently activity on all the operational issues among the players in this industry. We developed academic and professional knowledge on transfer and acquisition of SMEs, and we provide our members who are experts on all over the world with a range of activities alongside networking and deal-making opportunities to help them. We are involved in advocacy on business transfer issues around the Commission, and to keep them at the top of political agendas by raising awareness among policymakers, acting as a reference expert in the field, and representing the voice of the business transfer industry through his network of experts.
Thank you, Albert. This was already, just very briefly, we can maybe just go on with the round to see who is there. Thank you. So you're working on a European level and on a national level. That is interesting for us as well. Now I just like to go on with our national experts who are there. Mark, Dr. Evers, could you please say a few words about yourself?
Thank you. Mark is totally okay. Thank you very much for inviting me and to give me the chance to be here. I think STOB Regions is a very important project because networking is important and best practice is very important. So I'm from the German Chambers of Industry and Commerce, which represent the interest of the regional chambers of industry and commerce. In Germany, there are 79 of them with around about 200 branches. They do a lot in the field of business succession. My topic, I'm director in the IHK of business succession, small, medium-sized enterprise and startup policy, and representing the interests of the IHKs. And yes, communicate the experiences of the chambers in the regions to the politics, because the chambers, the local chambers, they sensitize senior entrepreneurs to the task at hand and show startups the possibilities of company takeover in many events, in many consultations, and year by year, the chambers count around about 30,000 discussions and consultations with old entrepreneurs, with senior entrepreneurs and startups who are willing or interested in overtaking a company. And I think furthermore in the discussion, we can hear more in practice about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So we would like to turn on to our next guest, Tomasz Budziak from Poland, just across the Oder River. What is your task and your association?
Hello, everybody. My name is Tomasz Budziak. I'm deputy chairman of association named Inicjatywa Firm Rodzinnych in Polish and Family Business Initiative. It's the oldest and the biggest association of family business in Poland, and it is my one role. Another my role is that I'm owner of a family business, and since 32 years I have been leading a family company, and I'm working a lot with family businesses, both in Poland as well with foreign families having interests in Poland. So I have probably quite a wide perspective, both national and international. However, it's more from the very practical perspective point of view. It's pure business, and this is very important. But another my role in the association of family business in Poland, it's sharing the knowledge and sharing the good practices for improving Polish family business, not only in area of succession and business transfer, but as well daily business. Because so my point of view, and we want to support this point of view in our association, is that there is no succession without good daily business in family business. And so I think it's enough for introduction, and I'm very glad being invited for this panel, for sharing the knowledge, for sharing the ideas and perspectives. So thank you very much, and I'm very interested in what will be next.
Yes, we are also very glad to have you with us, also because your role is twofold, as an entrepreneur yourself and also the member of your association or the representative of your association. Maybe everybody can think about the most pressing issues that are for you now when it comes to business transfer, either on a European level or national level. What would you say is most pressing at the moment? Who wants to start?
Can I start? Yeah. Oh, no.
For sure.
Sorry.
Oh, you're welcome. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. I think for many regions in the whole of Europe, the demographic development is a major challenge. And this is especially true, I think, for many regions in Eastern Germany, because a lot of companies were founded after 1989, 1990, and then the owners were, around about 35 or 40, and now they reached the age of retirement, and now a lot of companies have to be handed over. And on the other hand, we have fewer and fewer younger people that are willing to take over a company. And so it is important to make entrepreneurs aware of company succession, so that they have to think about company succession. Most senior entrepreneurs don't think about that. Some of them think we can do it till we are 100 or even older. But then you need persons, you need institutions going to the door, knocking at the door and saying, hello, now it is time maybe to hand over your company. It's the important topic of sensitization. So, and it is important to find possible successors to bring both sides together. And in addition, many companies have postponed their follow-up activities due to the corona pandemic. And now it is the time for us all to make them aware that they have to rework here and they have to do the succession now, and they have to think about it, and they have to work about that. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Any comments from the other participants? Are you see the same problems or maybe other challenges that you are dealing with on a daily basis?
So maybe I try. So the main problem recognized in Poland, it's the question, the issue of structurizing the business. If we look at family businesses from the size of small and medium enterprises, and especially in first generation, very often the companies are run by the people who with a personal involvement, with a personal profile, they created and run their enterprises. And the biggest problem is that very often the success of those enterprises came not from the corporate structure, but even against the corporate structure. They have very strong personal impact on every activity, on every area of enterprise. That means, and that results with big problems with transferring the companies to other hands. Doesn't matter is it hands of a family member or not family member. Very often transfer to the family member hands is much big problematic than to the, let's say, strange people. Why? Because of the level of emotions and the possibility to not leave the company by the senior owner of manager with some expectations to have an impact after theoretical passing the baton to the next generation makes big problems in cooperation and with this transfer, because very often the younger generation is dominated by the elder generation. In the case of simply transfer business to the other hands, this is very normally this influence is cut off, and the responsibility for the future of the company goes to the people who are not personally dependent on the former owners. And the transfer could be made easier and more effective if the company is well structured, well managed. By well managed, it means not only with this personal involvement of the leader, but this leadership could be somehow spread between the structure of the company and between the people who are inside this company. And I think this is the biggest challenge from perspective of SMEs, and this challenge have a big impact on the price and all of the conditions of business transfer. Another issue is that...
sorry, Tomek,
yeah?
Maybe we could just ask the other participants whether already, regarding to this challenge, you have some solutions or some ideas maybe from your regions or from the European level, so that we're just talking now about this problem of somebody who cannot leave the company, or the structure is too much focused on one person, so that it's difficult to dissolute somehow the company from the person. Maybe the others, you have some inspiration on that topic.
Yes, we try to show or to present to the entrepreneurs that succession is not a heritage. Succession is a problem. It's a process. It's a proceeding, long-term proceeding, and first, it's a managing problem and keeping the value problem, not legal problem. Unfortunately, succession issue is dominated by lawyers. lawyers have always say everything about the testaments, so the last wills, about foundations, and about dealing with legal issues, but they don't touch the issue of leadership and real leadership. It's not the issue of the power, but the question of leadership and creating leadership outside the current owner. This is the biggest issue. And
I think this is a
we
very
in Poland,
interesting point, Tomasz. I would just like to make a point on this one. Maybe Albert has some inspiration from Catalonia on this topic, and I don't know, you have lots of experience as well with family businesses and so on.
Thank you, Dorothea. I agree completely with opinions of Dr. Evers and also Thomas. And business standards should be part of the COVID-19 recovery of SMEs in Europe. Worldwide, then there is this need to help the companies to go to the next generation, to go to the next step in its development, which is the transfer of its business. Today, the economic policy focuses only in the startups and is more sexy. And you know, there is only 2 of the total projects in Interreg focused in SMEs transfer business. 2, only 2. Then there is no attention. There's no policymakers trend to forget the next steps of the company cycle. The life cycle of a company is usually born, grow, and then to be transferred. Because if there is not someone in the family that wants to continue, the next steps is. And now we risk to lose millions of companies, not thousands. When we talk about the startups, we talk about thousands of the startups. When we talk about business transfer, we talk about the risk of bankruptcy, the risk of failure due to the lack of the attention to this momentum. As Dr. Evers says, there is a generation that has developed companies. These companies are small companies. 98% are small companies, and these companies risk to disappear because the lack of business transfer, the lack of this situation. And we should point the focus of the policymakers in this situation. We need European and local markets where the buyers and the sellers can match and can be on the best of these circumstances and should solve the problematic that Mr. Thomas has explained. To find the correct, the new generation, to transfer this business to a member of the family or not. And all these kinds of type of business transfers should be on the focus of the European policymakers, on the focus of the European programs of support of SMEs, and also in the focus of all entrepreneurs. All the companies are born to grow and to be transferred. It's normal. It's one of the next steps on the life cycle of a companies, and we should raising awareness in this field.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And maybe we can directly ask Lucina, what is the European Commission planning and doing to strengthen the topic of BT? We heard there are just 2 Interreg Europe programs, but there's so much more about what the European Commission is already doing and is planning now to do to strengthen the topic.
Well, to refer to what has been already done, I think that the issue of business transfer has its own challenges at each level. At the company level, how the owner is willing to go forward with the transfer, whether it waits till the last moment and then the company is becoming weaker and weaker and less sort of prompt to be transferred to the next generation. Then there is an issue also at the level of organizations, business associations that are associating companies. I think that this is also an important element to talk during different business meetings about this event in the life cycle of a company, of a transferring a business. We know that companies which are in a good shape and viable companies, if they are appearing on the market, they have a very good chance to be transferred and bought by third party. It may be different within the family successions. It's also true that you need to, as an owner of a family business, you need to plan succession for a long time to really find whether there is a right successor within the family or not. Now, we just heard a very interesting example during the conference of the Baltic Sea region program, which means there are still ongoing projects on business transfers, and they are showing very good results. So it's about also involving a family of the successors, because if the wife and children don't want to move and work in a different location when the business is set up, then the children may not be willing to take over the company. There must be an agreement within the whole family whether there will be an intra-family successor or the company will need to be sold to the third party. So this is I would think that the business organization in many countries, business organization association, whether they are chamber of commerce or business association, but they can play an important role. Yes, so we know that there are much more projects on startups, but this is, this is a freedom of entrepreneurial activity, and for many people, it's easier to start a company. This is what they think. At the beginning, easier to start a company. It requires less funding. They can go with the completely new ideas, sometimes very innovative, I would say, ideas, which may work or not work. They are looking for venture capital for that. So, of course, and there are lots of research showing that if the company, the startup, innovative startup is very successful, it can create also lots of jobs. So there are reasons for which young generations, especially, they are reluctant to go immediately for an existing company. They are building their experience with the growing of their own company. And for them, taking over a company with 50, 60, 100 people, it might be a real challenge. So we need also to understand this issue, and of course you need to have more funding if you want to buy a successful company that would bring you, of course, will continue and will bring good results. Of course, you also need to have more funding for that. So I think that we should really look at the economic fabric as a whole and be happy whenever there is entrepreneurial activity, be happy that we have it. And of course, support it. We started at EU level the activities specifically focused on business transfers in 1993. And then in 1994, there was a recommendation to the member states to take the necessary measures to facilitate the transfer of SMEs in order to ensure their survival and jobs. And there were many measures, including indeed awareness raising, information and training for timely preparation for a transfer, because this remaining still a big issue, whether we talk about it for 30 years on all occasions, and it still doesn't somehow come to the minds of those who are supposed to think about it. We also talk about providing legal possibilities to restructure a business, to prepare a transfer, because some legal forms may be more easier for a business to go through the transfer than others. Then it was also about legal principles that ensure continuity of partnerships and sole proprietorship in the event of the death of one of the partners or the owner, because that was not the case in many countries. And then, of course, the inheritance and gift taxation in the context of family successions. So these issues, of course, some tax rules also for transferring a business to the third party. So all these measures have been put forward, and they are still actual, relevant. So this is the sort of environment that we should have a look at. I think that at our level, we are building a good set of best practices. Also through now Interreg projects and regional funding or social funds. We have projects like STOB, like InBET's Baltic Sea region projects. We had also, and Albert is a very good example of a very comprehensive, let's say, environment for transferring a business within a region of Catalonia, Barcelona Activa, who created a Reempresa. It was awarded European Enterprise Promotion Awards. It's still there behind Albert. It has been recognized at EU level as best practice case, and structural funding together with regional funding of Catalonia were used to create a transfer of business ecosystem. So we at our level now, let's say, we see a very good trend, and this is what since I started working on business transfers, I think this is an important path to take. Really take business transfers where the transfers are happening at local, regional level, at national level, because this is where the advice and expertise is needed, where people are meeting people and discussing these issues. So this is a very correct path in my view. And when I looked at the STOB projects in the beginning, when I saw that the regional action plans on business transfers are a part of the project's activities, I was extremely happy, because this was exactly the recommendation we made in 2017 during the Maltese presidency that held a big international conference on business transfers. We are discussing this at any occasion. Very recently, actually, a week ago, more or less, during the SME Assembly in Portorož, we had a masterclass on business transfers. I have a witness. We did it because Albert was with us, presenting also activities of Transeo. We have very committed stakeholders, European associations, and at some point also national associations dealing with business transfers. So I think that we are well accompanied in these efforts, and we are now focusing on something that at regional and level and local level, it's more difficult to address. And these are issues of data on business transfers, which are, let's say, fragmented still and not collected via business registers in a very straightforward manner, because it's difficult to do it. They do not appear in business registers very easily. We think that in order to enhance the
And Lucina, just to make a small break here, because it's lots of information, we just have to think about it, and it's so many ideas you're bringing. And I wanted just to ask you, because this point is very important with the data you were just saying, and I was thinking about national best practice we could now insert here. Like I know Mr. Evers, he's working on data in Germany, and he's doing a lot with his association to promote the topic in Germany on a national level. Maybe he can just give us some example of how it is working, this national policy making, what his association is doing there, just to have some practical insights there. Would be interesting.
Yes, thank you very much. So we are collecting the data of the Chambers of Industry and Commerce. And so the Chambers of Industry and Commerce are consulting senior entrepreneurs and the other side, startups who maybe are willing or interested in taking over a company. And so we are collecting the data, how many startups were there, how many senior entrepreneurs were there, what are their problems. And yes, I want to state one number because it's very important. 38% of all senior entrepreneurs, they have a strong emotion to their own company. And this is an obstacle for negotiations with the other side at the desk. I think this was very important what Thomas and Albert said. 38%. And so we call that the lifeblood return. They expect a revenue of their lifeblood return. But the woman or the man on the other side of the desk is not asking or willing to pay the lifeblood return. They are just willing to pay the return in the market. What is the company able to earn in the market? And so all other problems coming have their origin in the expectation of lifeblood return. Yes, and so it is important. It's a very difficult process what the chambers are moderating there to dissolve the entrepreneur from his enterprise, to make him sure that emotions are very important, but so it's sometimes time to leave your company. Yes, and at the table there are also the consultants of the senior entrepreneur, the consultant of the succession interest startup. And this is important, and this experiences we are collecting and transfer it to the politics. And we had another important survey among our experts consulting year by year 30,000 senior entrepreneurs and succession interested startups. So we have 1 in 5 senior entrepreneurs who said, I wouldn't be an entrepreneur at all if I had the chance now. And most of them said there are 2 reasons. The one reason is our administrative burdens, and the second reason is the lack of skilled workers. And so here we have the 2 points at which we have to work all together, the institutions in the regions, the chambers, but all the politics, because the frame conditions are very early for business succession. Yes, we need faster procedures, we need digitalized procedures to start up a company and to run a company. And this is a good project also for business succession, because when you say, hey, it is easy to run a company in Germany, then more people would say, okay, this could be an interesting option for me, either to start up a new company or to take over an existing company.
I like your term of lifeblood return. I will note it down. Maybe, Albert, I think you have a really good example of digitalization that you're doing in your region to help the matching process between buyer and seller. Maybe you can tell us something about your best practice. Oh, we can't hear you. You have to unmute, I think. Just
excuse me.
Here you are back. Now we hear you. Nice.
Yeah, then you're right. We have solved a little bit our this problem of the matching platforms in terms of Catalonia, in a part of Spain. We have started 10 years ago. This year will be the 10th one. Marketplace where all the companies can be found, and we are matching regularly more than 2 companies per day. Then we are selling 2 companies per day with this platform. We have sold 3,500 companies, with a total amount of 175 million euros. Transactions from 20,000, 25,000 people that is getting coming from the unemployment offices and buying a company that is still running from 30% of people that is getting retired. As Dr. Eber said, those people call its companies as its sons. They don't want to let these sons in the hands of whatever one. Then we have digitalized all the system, and one of the we have solved one of the more deep problem that we have in the field of buying and selling companies in Spain, which is the lack of information. Usually the independents or autonomous people or physical people that are carrying a company, they don't have the correct numbers of the running of its running companies. Then we have solved this with a special methodology that has been awarded for the Commission, as Lucina said, and we are trying to develop and to explain this nice venture that we have had to other regions in Europe, because this is possible. But we need not only to have these digital tools, which is absolutely necessary, we need to build ecosystems around the business transfer. Business transfer is a complex field. Then we need some people coming from the entrepreneurs field, some people from the financial one, chambers of commerce, and policymakers. All these people, and we have these people in our program. We have some commitment from more than 80 different organizations in the field that. Namely, regional policymakers, then chambers of commerce, then employers associations, sectors associations, employees, entrepreneurs, all these people who just regularly working in its field, and then we try to put all these people together in a unique one-stop shop. They can find in the center of reference of Catalonia the companies to buy. They can find help to modelize the kind of the company that you want to develop, and they have all this activity for free. Because we have established a commitment through the different partners to help in these special situations, all these small companies that we are helping. This is possible. This is nice experiences that is working for more than 10 years. And we have helped these 3,500 companies to be transferred, and by this program, we have also helped more than 50,000 employees to establish and be kept in its way.
Very impressive figures you're having also with your project, and I think it can be transferred to other countries indeed. But you are true saying ecosystems need to be established in every country on its own. Maybe, Tomasz, you can point out what are you doing at the policy level in Poland? What is your impact there? What are you doing with the topic of business transfer with your association? Maybe some best practice or some topic you're currently working on.
Currently, we are acting in two areas. First area is bringing knowledge and skills to entrepreneurs and raising the awareness about the succession problem or running the family business. As I thought, it's maybe more important. It's running the family business in proper way, because this is a, let's say, it's a daily business, and succession and transfer is only very dramatic, but only the episode is only one of periods in the life of the company. And we performed a lot of programs, some of them supported by European Community. We did a lot of trainings, a lot of conferences. We opened a special website on which we present some knowledge, some outputs of our researches. We did some researches about the situation and environment and for family businesses in Poland. And this is our permanent activity. On the other hand, we are trying to make some lobby activities on changing the law in Poland, because in early 90s, so the market economy started in Poland in a bigger dimension. The situation was somehow similar to Brandenburgia. However, I think comparing the situation, we had a big advantage comparing to the eastern lands of Germany. We had private farmers, and the farmers acted during the last period of communist time. They acted on the market, and they could accumulate some capital. So this change of economy in early 90s had some support with a small but the private capital. Anyway, now after 30 years, over the 30 years, we are in the situation that the establisher, the first generation of entrepreneurs, have to go away, and the Polish law, many years, I think until 2014, was not changed. It was not adopted to the changing to the challenges created by the market economy, and Polish law promoted not integration of the company during the transfer, but disintegration of a company. For example, it was a very the standard way. I think in every or in majority of the jurisdictions, the partition of the company of the assets among the potential successors is the standard or most promoted way. But in Poland, it was the only way. The companies could be not kept integrated. The companies under succession should be divided, should be partitioned. Now, step by step, with some our influence, the Polish Parliament is going to change the situation and making much easier the legal environment for succession and transition procedures. Now we try to promote, and this is just after the public consultations, the new law creating in Polish legal environment a kind of, in German it's a Familienstiftung, Familienstiftung, and in Polish it will be Polish adoption, I think for the much lower level, but with some, the instrument will be somehow similar to the solutions performing from years in Western Europe, especially in German-speaking countries, but probably much more friendly to the smaller entrepreneurs. We said to the government, we don't want to make a law for majors, we want to make a law for SMEs. And
this is a very nice sentence, Tomasz. I liked very much. And congratulations to you that you managed to influence as well on the Polish national level the law with your association. As we are coming closely to an end now of our discussion, I would like to ask a last question to all of you, because you know we are approaching Christmas. So in 1 month already it will be time for Christmas. And I want to ask you, if you had a wish concerning business transfers, either on national or European level, what would be your wish, your idea, your inspiration you would now, yes, ask us or ask somebody who could fulfill your wish? Maybe everybody can think of something he was always dreaming of. Yeah, Mark?
Yes, my dream is very practically, because today it will be the three parties negotiating together here in Berlin about the new government will present their coalition contract. So in Germany, the parties make coalition contracts. And I hope that the new federal government will present a coherent and viable concept for managing corporate succession. And there are two important pillars which must be there. This is reducing bureaucracy and improving digitalization, and this is coping with the shortage of skilled workers. This must be important pillars, and then everything others can follow. Like inheritance taxation is also a big topic in Germany, and many other things and regulations that can be altered or that can be abolished to make it easier for senior entrepreneurs and young startups to success a company or to take over a company. This is my wish.
Yeah, so cross fingers for this coalition talks. Yeah, Lucinda, what is your wish?
My wish would be at this moment to have national coordination bodies for transfer of business in each member state that would associate all the main stakeholders and having a business transfer as a topic at a national level. Then I would also like to have projects like yours implemented in different regions using funding from the EU. This is where money for structural developments also of the business environment and competitiveness of SMEs. This is the topic you are using to apply for such type of projects. That there are much more of these projects implemented in all different corners of Europe, bringing the expertise and best practice cases and approaches that has been developed. There are very good examples of these. We promote all the projects also on our website, focusing on family successions, focusing on different type of projects. So my wish would be that all these good examples of best practices are used in practice by people who are having in their heart the topic of business transfers. And I know that those who are dealing with business transfers is a very committed community. They are very fond of this topic and they do lots of efforts. I would wish also to have more and more people having business transfers as their main, let's say, topic in their heart and commit to that, because this is what needs to be done. Issues are very complex, as mentioned by Mr. Evers. It's an asymmetry between owners expecting price for the company that a buyer is not willing to pay. Online markets good, but also with a body behind the market, online market platform to help and negotiate and mediate between buyers and sellers. It's all this should be sort of coordinated. So that will be my wish.
Well, that's a big wish, but we hope for it to become true
Christmas.
one day.
It's Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas, so we can just mention everything that we would like to see in the future. And we're on a good way. I see already you have lots of cooperation between each other, but also in different projects. And maybe just one short sentence from you, Thomas, and you, Albert, anything you would like to add, your personal wish for the topic of business transfer.
Yeah, my personal wish is very easy and short. I want the creation of a financial tool like the SMEs instrument, only focused in business transfer in Europe for millions of companies to save.
Okay, thank you. And Thomas, what about you?
I think it's a very good idea, and I can share support for this idea. So I think the another issue is I think it works already. It's a kind of exchange or association having more information about the opportunities, international and national opportunities for making business transfer easier. But I understand that for SMEs it will be always a problem with how to prepare the right numbers or how to present the company. If, like in Poland, for example, is a personal activity of entrepreneur without any accounting, it's only personal activity, and we have in Poland very big enterprises which are run in the very simplified legal form. So making any due diligence is very, very hard. It's a really challenge.
Okay, thank you so much for your input as well. I think you mentioned already so many topics that are also part of the STOB region projects, like as focus issues. And we will now, after this session with you, now turn on with the project partners who will present their results and their achievements. But first of all, for sure, I would like to thank the four of you that you were here with us today. Virtually, but never mind. I hope we can meet on a personal level later, maybe on to another event or something. It was very nice to talk to you. Yes, and I wish you a good day. I mean, you can always join us with our conference longer if you have some time. We would be glad. If not, we will see you on another occasion. So nice to have you with us now. And I would like to hand...
Thank you, bye.
Bye. Thank you for your inspirations. I would like now to hand the word over to Birgit from Berlin School of Economics and Law. And she's going to make a summary of project activities and then going into depth in the topic of family businesses. There I can see you, Birgit. Nice to have you with us from Berlin today. Or are you in Cologne?
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You're working in Cologne, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's right. So we're looking forward to your presentation then. And
exactly, there they are.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yes, then I can start. Hello to everybody. Good morning from Germany. Actually, not from Berlin, but because due to Corona, there's a lot of lessons. There are a lot of lessons virtual. I'm living in Cologne with my family. That's a town with the huge cathedral and the nice beer called Kölsch. Yeah, let us come to the topic. The transfer of business. As we all know, is now, could we stay with the first slide, please? Thank you. Transfer of business is important for owners, for successors, for employees, and for the European economy as a whole. There are about 450,000 transfers of business in Europe every year, which provide 2 million jobs. But the problem is, so the EU in 2019, that 30% of SMEs do not survive the transition to the second generation of owners, and only 10% of SMEs can withstand the succession to a third generation. And this aspect directly indicates the importance for regions to have a closer look at the issue and support companies to overcome their challenges and encourages entrepreneurship and development and promote growth. So the European Commission in its Entrepreneurship 2020 Action Plan. Let me introduce you to this issue, its goals and topics, and the central findings of our project. And now I would like to have the next slide, please. Thank you. There are 8 European organizations participating in the STOB Regions project. All of the project partners face the same challenge to find new instruments to support business transfer. They are coming from Bulgaria, Denmark, Finland, Germany, Poland, Romania, Slovenia, and Spain. And the EMF Institute, my institute, is a scientific advisory partner. During the project timeframe, we did not only meet each other, but also there were also a huge range of stakeholders in the region itself that met and discussed all the topics. And the project partners' diversity assures that the outcomes of the project are good examples and guidelines for other European regions. That's the idea behind that. Can we go to the next slide, please? The why. With this inter-regional policy learning process and the intense cooperation, one of the main goals of the project is that the regions will be enabled to find more entrepreneurs interested in taking over a business and have more successful transfers. Therefore, it's necessary first to increase the capacity of regional authorities on policy interventions, to establish new initiatives, methodology, and tools. Then to gather a holistic view on the process, the requirements and obstacles of transfer of business. And last not least, to create a stable network in the regions between partners, policymakers, and regional stakeholders. Let's come to the how. The project was composed in 2 phases. The first one from the beginning of 2017 to the end of 2019 successfully ended. After 3 years of sharing experiences and participating in interregional learnings, the partners now benefit from improved knowledge of the various approaches across the regions. We've had peer reviews and workshops on specific topics of business transfer. I'll come to that later on, where we learned from each other and evaluated each region and developed action plans on that base. These regional action plans are a key output of the program. They contain concrete projects that build on the identified good practices and transfer new ideas to partner regions. We also presented our results and findings on a European level, for example, as the SME Assembly in Finland in 2019. The second phase, which started in January 2020 and ends now, has a task to implement the action plans in the regions. And because COVID had made implementation more difficult, we have been given the opportunity to continue to implement the project goals until the end of 2022. Let's come to the next slide. The what. The challenges of the succession process could be summed up, or we did that, we summed them up in 9 broad topics that were the subject of our partner meetings in the regions. The regional stakeholders and interest group presented their experience in these fields, and we have been talking about the family business itself, about sensitization and raising awareness of business transfer, about the psychology of the company succession. We were talking about advisory services for the whole process, for the whole transfer process. We had a workshop on valuation, rating, and maintenance of value of companies in the transfer process. We were talking about different target groups of potential buyers. We had an intensive workshop on matchmaking. And then we were talking about business transfer in rural areas. And last not least, about the financial instruments to support the transfer of business. Next slide, please. Each company, each entrepreneur, and each region has, of course, its individual challenges and support needs. And during our project period, we developed for every partner region a SWOT analysis with its strengths and weaknesses, the chances and the risks concerning business transfer. And the idea is, again, to transfer good practices to other countries and regions and to help to regions to overcome the challenges. Let me give you some ideas on our results. Next page, please. Thank you. What did we find out in general? First, there is to mention the high willingness to tackle the challenges of business transfer in the partner regions. They already have certain instruments and measures, but there is still room for improvement. Most of the regions face some administrative hurdles, and to identify the right good practices, that has been challenging. And of course, this does not apply in the same way to every region. So the regional SWOT show vast heterogeneity between the partner regions. These are the general aspects. And what are the major challenges and threats regarding the business transfer itself? Let's start with the overall complexity of business succession. A transfer involves complex issues like valuation, matchmaking, finance, and legal issues, all these 9 topics, and expanding knowledge, connection skills, control, and much more. And this is one of the challenges every region we identified in every region. The second thing is the lack of fitting successors due to demographic development with less younger people. Then there's also a lack of personal experience that can be a major factor in failing transfers. Business owners, especially in Eastern Europe, are in the situation to look for a successor for the first time, since most firms were founded after the political changes in the early 90s. Owners often underestimate the required time and effort. Unexpected obstacles arise, they forget essential aspects, the situation overstrains owners, and much more. This leads to the next aspect, the lack of planning and awareness. Of course, there are also emotional and psychological issues. For many entrepreneurs and other affected parties, it is difficult to deal with this sensitive topic. For some, it is still a taboo topic. The transfer of knowledge is another aspect, because many, especially small businesses, are strongly dependent on the owner, especially the founder. This owner manager is often the only one who has a complete overview of the company's relevant aspects. Since business transfer is a complex undertaking, excellent support and tools are needed to master the challenges. There is a high risk for business succession if not enough competent or adequate support is easily and permanently available. The consultants must have the experience, offer efficient solutions, and organize the whole process well. Insular knowledge or niche experts help those in need only to a limited extent. And of course, there's much more to tell about the STOB Regions project and about business succession, but you gave me just 10 minutes. Therefore, I'm pleased to present you. Next slide, please. I'm pleased to present you this guidebook. It provides an overview based on the collective knowledge of our interregional cooperation. Overall, the opinions of dozens of experts from all over Europe has been incorporated into this report. In addition to general assessments and challenges of business succession, this book contributes to the regional differentiation in Europe and how individual aspects have different weights and meanings. It combines different views and suggestions and statements and gives recommendations for political decision makers and regional authorities. I think it is also for business owners, for managers, and all other stakeholders, as well as experts and consultants. Let me come to an end. It needs network, exchange, and professional structures to act sustainable and to initiate tangible processes. And it needs enthusiasm for a topic that secures the sustainable existence of small and medium-sized companies in region in whole Europe. Succession is still not sufficiently ingrained in people's minds and lags behind other more prominent issues, such as supporting startups, for example. So there is still a lot to do. Let's go on with that. My special thanks goes to the expert in the partner regions in Europe. This project would not have been possible without your commitment and active participation. And for me personally, I got some new friends, and I know others too. And this personal relationship to European people from other countries is, in my opinion, as important as the content. So to put it in a nutshell, you don't dispute with someone you have already had a beer with. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Birgit, for your insights. And you're right, the personal contact is very important when you're collaborating on whatever the topic can be. So I'm happy you had this good connections in your team. And we will now jump from the western part of Germany, where you're now, to our eastern part, to my colleague Sandy. She's sitting here with me, and she's talking about sensitization and raising awareness.
No, I
sorry, you will
like
continue because yes, I was wondering about.
Like to start
for sure. You're welcome. Give us your input with the family business still.
Thank you so much, Dorothy.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, what is a family business and how important is that to the European Union and to the topic of business transfer? Following a broad definition, about 99% of all, it's okay. 99% of all European Union firms are small and medium-sized enterprises, and more of 60% of all SMEs are family businesses. There are a lot of different definitions about family business, but 3 aspects are widely agreed on. The first is the ownership and management. Almost all definitions agree that ownership in family possessions is a primary criterion for being a family business. The ownership can also be in form of shares of the company, but it's the family who is the owner of the company. The second criteria is a transgenerational succession. The founder and the current generation in place must have the vision of the business continuity in the family hand. And the third criteria is a family orientation, the involvement and the influence. It describes to what extent the family is involved in and committed to the business. And apart from the huge number, there are many positive effects on the EU economy associated with SMEs and family businesses. They diversify the economy and therefore lower national economic risks. They are flexible and can quickly adapt to changes. They foster competition and act as a stabilizing counterpart to big companies and preventing from monopoly power. They are leaders in corporate social responsibility practices, and they are filled with ambition, with energy, with creative and ideas, and therefore they a prime example of entrepreneurship. Beside all those positive aspects, the transfer of business or family business is often challenging, and in some cases do not work out as planned, as only 30% of the family business survives the second generation. I said it before, and many fail soon after the transfer. Let me introduce you to the 3 ways of transferring a family business and their challenges. I'd like to start with the family internal succession. The owner's children are widely seen as the first choice for succession endeavors. However, the ancestry alone does not make one a good entrepreneur. Qualifications are also needed. Sometimes there is a lack of qualification, and sometimes the children are not willing to take over, even if they are competent. Problems also arise when parents and their children are unable to agree on general goals or timing, or do not have the same strategic ideas. Frequently, parents expect their children to obey their wishes and want them to follow their example and management styles. Especially in family firms with multiple siblings, conflicts between them hinder the succession process. And lastly, financial aspects may play an essential role, so the inheritance tax may be an obstacle, or in small family firms, the next generation often need to financially maintain the parental generation. These are some aspects of family internal succession. Firm internal succession is often the second preferred option, since employees do hold specific knowledge of the firm and in some cases already hold shares of the company. However, there can be problems associated with firm internal succession too. Difficulties may arise in terms of former employees taking over a firm, since acceptance by former colleagues may be difficult. The new role as a boss is often challenging to assert against one old boss, his family and former colleagues. In the case of a management buyout, the financial burden is often a substantial obstacle. It is usually not possible to pay the business from their savings. Therefore, the company's cash flows needs to refinance the price the successor paid. And let's come to the external succession. If no family member or employee are willing to, or able to take over the company, selling it to someone external is a third option and often the owner's last choice, as institutional investors often change the culture of the firm. Still, otherwise, the companies might need to get closed down. This option is also challenging, as the successor has no experience within the business and is highly dependent on the cooperation of the former owners and employees, especially in family businesses where many structures and decision-making processes are informal. Owner dependency and the importance of relationships are enormous. And last but not least, many external successors have the same financial problems than firm internal successors would have. In the STOB Regions project, we found out that it is essential to clarify more than just technical matters. So the old quote from Landsberg from 1988 is still valid, and it was a main suggestion from the project concerning this aspect, family business. If owners are emotionally not ready to hand over their business, they might even boycott the succession in the worst case. In case of a family internal succession, the generation gap must be overcome and social role patterns get broken up. Therefore, bad communication is the most dangerous deal breaker. The cross-generational dialogue can make succession much easier. The generations should clarify their different positions. Then they have to make advances to each other. Making compromises is not always easy, but urgently necessary. And it is also advisable for the generation handing over the business to make succession attractive to their children, less as a compulsion, but more than an opportunity. It is necessary to allow changes to take place and hand over the power so that the children can make independent decisions and realize their potential. Another relevant condition for successful succession, apart from the intention, is also the ability to do so. Successors need the necessary expertise. Therefore, the successors can acquire the needed knowledge through various courses and training. With sufficient planning time, they can attain technical, social, and entrepreneurial qualifications, such as leadership skills. They should also gain experience in the company itself or in a comparable business before the takeover. In case of conflicts, they should be settled. That can be done by professional help. Succession advisors can also help with technical issues, mediate between different opinions, ideas, and points of views. And psychologists can, for example, help the person handing over to let go. The majority of companies in the EU are family businesses, and family internal succession is still the most common succession form. Therefore, this aspect of the 9 selected issues is, in my opinion, a very important one, and the results of our discussions and work in the STOB Regions project are hopefully helpful to other regions too. Thank you again for listening.
Thank you, dear Birgit. This was really inspiring. And I think the next topic is closely connected to yours, which is sensitization and raising awareness, because it's also about psychological aspects of the whole process. And my colleague Sandy is now going to talk about this topic. For the next participants, please think of, we have to keep it a bit short to not run out of time. But yeah, they are all very interesting, your topics. So Sandy, you're welcome now.
Yeah, thank you, Doro. Yes, I would like to summarize the focus issue, sensitization and raising awareness from our project work. So we've heard already a lot in the discussion before, and our findings from STOB Regions fit exactly with the discussion points from before. So actually, I don't need to show my presentation anymore, but of course I will. But I can keep it really short. So I would like to summarize first the most pressing issues, and for 3 different groups. The first groups are the political actors. I found a figure that up to 60% of the existing companies are to be handed over within the next 10 years. Of course, these figures vary from country to country, from region to region, and also from study to study. But I think we are all sure that that is a very high number of companies to be handed over, and it is a very threatening number of companies to be handed over. And it's the task of political actors, and we've heard it also in the discussion in the morning, the wishes from our discussants. It is a task of political actors in the regions, but also on national levels, to focus more on business transfers instead of focusing only on startups, because maintaining existing companies helps to save jobs in the regions, helps to maintain economic power in the regions, and also to maintain the quality of life, especially in rural areas. The second group that have to be the second group for raising awareness are the successors. Also, this is a point that we've heard in the morning. There's a big lack of successors, and that is a challenge for all our partner regions and also beyond, I'm convinced. So that means potential and fitting successors have to be found and have to be attracted. They have to be made aware of the opportunity to continue an existing business or even to innovate an existing business, because the existing businesses have a lot of potential for innovation, for bringing forward new structures, new ideas. And they have to be made aware also of the advantages of an existing business. There are skilled workers. What is a really big challenge for today, we've already heard it. They have customers, they have suppliers, they have all these proven structures that can be built on. And the second group are the senior entrepreneurs, of course. We've learned that many of the senior entrepreneurs start too late planning their succession. And then they are not prepared, and it comes to the case that they have to sell their business that they don't have time anymore. So they have to choose not the suitable successor, but the first one who comes, or they have to sell for a very low price. So they have to start much earlier. They have to take into consideration that it takes a lot of time to go through this process. And another point that is, according also to Birgit's words, the difficulties to let go for senior entrepreneurs. So there are a lot of emotional aspects in there. So they don't have a task anymore. They don't feel needed anymore. They don't know what to do with all this leisure time. But often there are also financial reasons. So they couldn't save enough money for the retirement, so they have to continue their work. So these are the 3 groups where raising awareness is very important for. Next slide, please. Here I gathered some suggestions to raise awareness. So yeah, please don't expect big surprises. So there are a lot of measures, tools, and activities to raise awareness. But of course, we must not stop them, but we have to find new ones, modern ones, sexy ones. Of course, public relation is a very big but a very important field for this. So public campaigns, maybe even on national level, but at least on regional level, also publishing good practices and success stories on regional level that can really help to attract or to keep it in mind. Another very important point is the entrepreneurship education, to create and to teach an entrepreneurial mindset. And of course, in many universities, it has become usual to have offers for business transfer. But I am convinced, or we are convinced, that we have to start much earlier. For example, on high school level, or even earlier. Networks are very important on regional, on national level. So nobody has to reinvent the wheel. If you work together, you can achieve much better results. And of course, the very traditional information events, seminars, and workshops, just to have a platform to exchange or to gather information, and the more modern ones like online platforms, information websites, or tools. For example, the SME calculator that helps a lot for raising awareness and to go the first steps into this process. Thank you very much. I'm at the end. Honestly, I have to say that in our workshop was also the topic of psychological aspects, but or I leave it out or I speak half an hour, so I decided to leave it out.
For sure. We can discuss this later on. It's very complex, I think. Yeah, thank you so far. I think there are no questions, so we would like to continue with our next partner from Finland. Marcus?
Hello,
yes,
everybody.
There you are. Hi, nice to see you, Marcus. So just let me introduce your topic. You're going to talk about innovation and transfer of knowledge today. So we are curious to hear from you. Here.
Thank you very much, and greetings from Finland to everyone. We had first snow last night, so we are going towards winter here. Yes, the second workshop in the project was about innovation and transfer of knowledge and how it relates to business transfers. The main objectives that we set for this workshop in the project application, where it was to understand how a business innovation strategy and technical innovations introduced by the new owner can raise the value of company and changes the overall business management strategy. Also, the relationship of corporate strategy and culture in order to foster a successful innovation, initiation and support of knowledge transfer from the regions, and also investigating the possible synergies with other projects in relation to knowledge transfer. I think this topic overall was one of the more difficult ones in the project, but still, nevertheless, we had great input from the partners as always, and also from the stakeholders. I think we had about 30 people in the meeting, so it was really, there was lots of expertise. I think just to sum up the key findings quickly, the ownership change obviously is a pivotal point in the life cycle of a business, and new skills and knowledge are introduced to company by new owners or new board members. I think this is one also bigger issue that we learned, that we must always separate the life cycle of a business and the entrepreneur. We find in many cases locally, at least, that when there is an aging businessman who has owned the company for, let's say, 30 years, it leads into some sort of a plateau in the development of the business, and their new innovations become scarce, and that doesn't obviously do good for the value of the company. So when they are at the point that they want to sell it to a new owner, the value of the business is not necessarily what it could be. So it is important that throughout the life cycle of the business is developed, the products or the services are developed, and this is why we see that linking all the funding and development services also to business transfer is important, and it will increase the value of business. Of course, this relates to Sandy's topic that early start is essential. So awareness raising is important. It cannot be so that you decide that I want to sell my business tomorrow, but it has to be long-term process, and it again relates to the life cycle. So The next slide is about the peer review we made. So the meetings were always in two parts. First, learning on a certain topic and then doing a peer review. This was very interesting day. We gave two examples of businesses that have gone through succession. One was a family-owned business, one was external buyer. And I think in both examples, it was greatly pointed out that how the new owner brought new things into the company and maybe started doing more R&D, more innovation. What we find out already in the inception report, but we got confirmation from the peer review and some good new ideas. In Kainuu, the services for business transfer exist, but they are scattered between different actors. So there is public support, there is funding support, and everything, but there was not a coordinated approach to this, and it was very difficult for the business owners to find all the necessary services. And this is something that we tackled also in our action plan. Awareness raising obviously needed. I think that's applies to all the regions. We've spent a lot of time discussing about the some of the issues in the region. We are a small region in northeastern Finland, so we face these same problems or challenges in everything that we do in regional development. So brain drain, we are losing lots of young professionals. One reason is that we don't have a university level education here. Well, we have a University of Applied Sciences, but on a very top level, no. Attractiveness of the region is a problem. The population is declining, population is aging also. So these were the things discussed. I think because the meeting in Kainuu was 4 years ago, some things have actually changed a bit. Now we are really facing, or let's say that unemployment is not so much a problem anymore, but it is the lack of professionals that we need in our businesses. So yeah, things develop, but still the challenges remain. Thank you very much for this opportunity. If any questions arise, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Markus. So are there any questions from the audience? I don't see so far. They can be asked later on as well. We are still here with you a little bit. So yes, I'm jealous of your snow, Markus. It sounds wonderful. And it was really interesting to hear what you have experienced in your workshop there in Finland. Let's go a little bit south to Poland. We have our colleague here, Anna, from Poland, and she will speak about advisory service for the transfer process. So here you are, Anna. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning. I would like to say hello to everybody. It's very nice to see you all. I would like to say something short information about a workshop in Małopolska, and the main subject of the meeting in Małopolska was related to the advisory services in the process of succession. The main objectives were role of the advisory services in the succession process, different approaches from, for example, lecturers, consultants, coaches, therapists, wide variety of fields, examples of good practices on advisory support, and availability and quality of advisory services. Despite the short history of entrepreneurship in Poland and the young tradition of business handover, Małopolska has some interesting experiences in the area of advisory services. Can we go to the next slide? Can we go to the next slides? I would like to ask to show next.
wait. They come to that one. You mean? This one.
Thank you. In Poland, due to historical conditions, most of the private enterprises were established after the period of political transformation. As you know, because previous Mr. Tomasz Budziak told about this. And according to statistics, a big number of companies is still in the hand of the first owner. As you can see, can you show, yes, this slide? Thank you. As you can see on the slide, in the hand of the first owner is about 32% of the companies, and another 17% are managed by the first and the second generation together at the same time. In this context, business transfer issues have gained in importance in recent years and become increasingly popular. As I have mentioned before, the advisory services was one of the first ways to support provided in Poland, and in the Małopolska region, activities to support family businesses have been undertaken mainly by consulting companies. Thanks to the European Union funds, business advisory has become more common and accessible even for smaller companies. During the workshop, there were presented some of the projects related to the succession support in Małopolska region. As you know, the vouchers for consultancy and guide to succession in family businesses. Both guide and vouchers were reported as a good practice on the policy learning platform under the Interreg Europe program. During the workshops, we hosted the representatives of companies who have been precursors in the area of business handover in Poland. Can we go to the next slide? Can I ask for the next slide?
I already did this, Anna. Could you check if it's the correct one?
No.
Content and core
yes,
findings?
Because there is some differences between YouTube and yeah. Okay, it's okay. It's okay now. During the workshop, we hosted the representatives of companies who have been precursors in the area of business handover in Poland. And the examples of many Polish companies have proved that not only entrepreneurs were not ready for the generation shift, also legislation needed to be adjusted according to the new reality. And we heard about this in the morning, that in Poland we are on the way to the changing the legal situation and legal aspects of business transfer. And the main challenges of successful business transfer are related to awareness for better planning and preparation, and quality and availability of advisory services. On the photo, you can see the process of SWOT analysis during the workshop and the visit in the family businesses out of Africa. And the next slide. Yes. The fruit of cooperation between the Marshall Office, the regional stakeholder group, and the STOB regions project partners during the interregional peer review workshop in the Małopolska is the SWOT analysis. Despite the approaching wave of succession in the coming years, an important and strongly accented conclusion was still young age of company founders to properly prepare and carry out succession. There is a noticeable deficit to emergency planning in companies. In addition, education, both at school and later, requires further improvement. In terms of threats, the greatest seems to be the underestimation by entrepreneurs of the importance of business transfer as a critical stage in the company's life cycle, as well as the time needed to be well prepared for succession. The conclusion based on the analysis were used during the preparation of strategic document for Małopolska region for the next few years. The topic of succession has been recently included into the strategic documents of the Małopolska, like regional development strategy, regional innovation strategy, or project of the European funds for Małopolska. And I think it's a big success of the project and for our region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna, so much for your inputs as well. I think we have many, many ideas and information now to digest, and also maybe some of you are already tired and wants to take a coffee or something. So I would like to invite you now to take a break. We will have 15 minutes of break, so 12:15, we will meet again here for more reports from our project partners. So I hope you're all enjoying this break and then coming back with new strength to tackle the second part of our conference. In the meanwhile, you see a nice caricature here that I like very much on the topic of business transfer. So see you later then. Bye. Hello, dear partners. We are slowly coming back from our break. I cannot see the Bulgarian project team. Hello, are you there already, the Bulgarian team? Can you maybe switch on your camera? Ah, I see Velizar's coming there.
It's Alexander.
Ah, sorry, Alexander.
Yeah. No, okay, I'm late. Okay.
Can see many people around you there, yeah, Alexander?
Velizar is engaged with the European Day in the other room. I'll present our presentation.
Very nice. So the floor is yours. You're talking about different target groups of potential buyers now, Alexander.
Yes.
So we are looking forward to hear from you.
Okay, next slide, please. We have invited, it was done in March 2018. And first of all, hello to all of our partners. I'm glad to see you. We have invited different different speakers from Bulgaria that shares their experience under the topic of different target groups, such as the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the University of Food Technology, chairwoman of the Plovdiv Regional Craft Chamber, and of course the representative of the Bulgarian Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Agency, which is very important and which is the policy instrument that we were trying during the project to change, to improve. Next, please. These are the pictures of in Plovdiv. It was in a hotel conference room. You see the Bulgarian partners, all of the pictures of the partners, and etc. It was a very fruitful meeting. Next, please. The partners spoke from Seville, the Chamber of Commerce, from Brandenburg, from South Denmark region, from Slovenia, from Ilfov County Council, Romania, Malopolska region, and of course Finland. Everybody shared there. And after the discussions, we identified several target groups, women, succession female, in what they are and what are the needs to support this group are different because of the different countries, the migrants and the foreigners, maybe as the Romanian partner had a project to return back the migrants in Romania and to start their business. Another target group, young people from 18 to 30, young companies for young people, and they identified internal employers. That was what spoke Sandy, and other identification, some students as a legal group, the universities, and we see that in the University of Food Technology, they have a special subject how to transfer knowledge into the companies. Next, please. And the potential buyers identified by the partners were buyers from universities, employee buyout, migrant buyers, female buyers, buyers from other countries. Use of know-how from the entrepreneur support. We discussed that in order to have a successful succession, we have to to train. We have to have training courses. We have to have funding programs, and of course on-site support, mentoring, and active promotion of successful process. And of course, at the end of the meeting, we, as usual, made a SWOT analysis of Plovdiv region, the strengths, the opportunities, the weaknesses, and we identified what we can improve in our future work. I think that's all. Yes.
Thank you very much, Alexander, for your nice findings and insights you gave us on your project outcomes. We would now normally hear some presentation from Denmark, but unfortunately our partner is not available today due to another important event he has. So we're going to continue now with Romania. And I know Anna is already there from Romania.
Yes.
Anna, your topic is matchmaking today, and we are looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have to say that I'm very glad to be part of the project team. It was a strange thing that first of all, I took part in the project as the stakeholder because in Bucharest Ilfov region, our interest is in having a stable and predictable environment for SMEs development. As a county council, we try to see what are best options for our small entrepreneurs, for our sole traders, our first generation of mature entrepreneurs to transfer their businesses. And it's a huge difference between selling a business. You must evaluate the business on the market, between transferring the business and between being in the position to inherit a business. The cleanest, let's say, the cleanest way from our point of view of business transfer is matchmaking. Because matchmaking can help companies develop, can help companies find ways of developing and of being or repositioning to a right market, especially now when they are so stressed out on COVID pandemic. You can go on with the slides. We have with us another guest with a lot of experience in business transfer, Mr. Dan Krivac. And I would also like Dan to have a short intervention and say a few words about what really happens when you sell a business, when you evaluate a business assets and you put it on the market. So please, Dan, take the floor. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can turn on my camera. So, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm I'm gonna try to be as short as possible, and I'm not gonna talk about the importance of those solutions for business transfer and why they are needed, why it's so important to save as many businesses as possible. And in order to be able to do that, you need to create an ecosystem which is going to serve all the areas needed in the successful business transfer, which is not easy. And in order to scale up this ecosystem, where you're going to cover all the areas needed, after months of discussion and negotiations, you sign a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce of Romania, where you're going to help them to implement those services in all the Chamber of Commerces in Romania. You have 40 different regions in Romania, and each region have a Chamber of Commerce. You divide it to make it easier, those services in 3 areas. So the first one is going to be the preparation of a business in order to be ready to be sold, and you included here all the legal and fiscal advice needed for a business, the evaluation, and everything else needed to be ready to be sold. The second part is where this business is going to be promoted for sale on different channels, which you have already. And here is our business brokers, which you train. They are going to come handily helping the Chamber of Commerce with this part. And the last part is going to be once the buyer for a business is been found. This last part is going to be the business transfer, where all the legal documents, they are going to be prepared by the Chamber of Commerce, one of the Chamber of Commerce, of course, in order to conclude the transaction. So it was not an easy task to do. And so far you have 17 Chamber of Commerces in Romania, which have already 42 specialists trained to work on this field and offer their services. And also you get a network of other specialists in the field you needed, which they are going to help the Chamber of Commerce to offer those services under one umbrella. Make it, European Union is going a lot in the direction of less paperwork, make it easier with one action to accomplish more. And that was our direction, to put everything under one umbrella, and everybody, our clients have access to everything what they need, fast and easy. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck with STOB Regions. It's been a while since I've been part of your meetings. I think 2019 was the last time when I was with you, but I'm glad that this program evolved so nice, and now it's ready to show results in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well from my side, Dan, and also Anna, for your contributions now with your Romanian point of view. We would like to continue. You're welcome. We would like to continue now with our Spanish partner, Manuel. I saw you this morning already. Yes, hi. There you are. Nice to see you, Manuel. You're going to talk now about business transfer in rural areas, which is actually also a very important topic for many of our European regions. Also, our Brandenburg region is kind of rural. So we are curious what you're going to tell us.
Some virtual camera.
Hi,
Excuse
how
me?
are you doing? Good.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes. So go ahead.
Thanks. There is some micro open somewhere. Okay. Good morning. This is Manuel Montoya from the Seville Chamber of Commerce. Thanks all these speakers who came before me. As I was listening to them, I was making a reflection. I did remember this story about two friends. These two friends, they want to start a business, but they only have a very old, rusty truck. So they decided, okay, what we can do, we can go inland, buy tomatoes, come down, and sell it in the market. Well, they just went up inland, they found a farm, and they bought tomatoes, €1 a kilo. They went down to the market, and they start selling very successfully, selling the tomatoes, €1 the kilo. The truck got empty very soon. Went back to inland. Again, they bought the tomatoes, €1 the kilo, and came back to the market and sold it in the same price. And they were very busy going up and down, buying and selling tomatoes, €1 the kilo. And one of those moments of reflection when they were driving back from inland with the truck full of tomatoes, one of the partners just pondered, I don't know, I had the feeling that we are not doing something right. I had the feeling that we might make some change in our company. And they just keep a silence. And then the smarter of the two guys say, I got it. I have the solution and I have the answer. We should buy a bigger truck. So I have this feeling about business transfer. We have entrepreneurs working very hard, but sometimes with the lack of vision, of future vision about their business. So this happens in the rural areas, happens urban areas, but also especially happens in rural areas. As you know, rural areas have many challenges, many problems, like the weak of socioeconomic structure, decline of demography, and the population. So as you can get an idea, birth rates are very low everywhere, but also the population. Only 11% of farmers are under 40 years old. So the owners, people who work in farms and agriculture sector, are old people. We had also in the rural areas, they have a high dependency of primary sector. They like farming, and I was telling you, low value of added services, high unemployment, low entrepreneurship levels, and scarce mass of innovation actors. Those are some of the weaknesses, some of the problems that rural areas face. Next slide, please. So what we find here across Europe, we have in many rural areas, small towns, we have shops, long-time shops. They have been in activity for a long time. They are closing the doors because they are not able to find successors. So also we have many fields, land fields, they are empty, not being productive because they are not finding successors. So this brings so many other problems. Not only then the business is getting closed, but also bringing unemployment and stopping the economic development of the region, and also this brings the population. So all these problems get worse and worse. Next slide. Oh, no, go back, sorry, Anna, sorry. Yeah, especially talking about the challenges in rural areas, challenges related to business transfer. As in the urban areas, we have the lack of succession planning. But of course, in the rural areas, sometimes all those businesses are less professionalized. And there are many less chances than they have succession planning. As these two friends that were selling tomatoes, they didn't plan very well their business, and they were working hard, but without future vision. Also, the legislations, the laws doesn't help much. They are not much tax incentives and financial, or there are tax incentives and financial penalties for early transfer of property, especially in the farming area. The cultural perception about the importance of keeping land in the family. We'd already talked about these psychological or cultural perceptions. Also, fears of retirement, primarily due to the inadequate safety net for pensioners. That is, they want to keep working because they don't have another living. Young people, negative perception of agricultural work or rural quality of life. This is this is a pandemic. This is a real pandemic here. Also, we have young farmers, young people who want to become farmers or to move to the rural areas who are constrained to do it by the lack of access to land and credit. So next slide. How we do suggest or what are the conclusions that we reach in STOB to tackle these challenges? First, building innovation capacity and implementing innovative solutions to remain viable for business locations. So it is very important that we create the ecosystem, the appropriate environment for the business to stay, to start new businesses in rural area, but also the businesses that are there to stay there. Also, designing innovation support mechanisms that are adapted to rural businesses. Many of these mechanisms are adapted for big businesses in urban areas with high technology and wherever, but they are not tackling the needs of the traditional industries that are basic in the business extraction, like could be the farming sector. Also, looking for new technologies such as digitalization to improve competitiveness. That is very important. We need to help our business in rural areas to implement new technologies and to digitalize their business. And last, also to promote tax incentives and credit access to these businesses, and especially for young people, so they are willing to start a business and they are willing to take over other businesses in rural areas. This is some of the recommendations. Next slide, please. Ourselves, we are working here in Andalusia. We are working with implementing our action plan. The first finding that we did through STOB is there was no plan. There was nothing, any support related to business transfer. So we are working in setting up an integrated framework for business association and transfer with the regional government. We have been very successful doing this. The regional government has many offices around Andalusia, and now these offices were trained and they are offering that support for businesses. We are elaborating and disseminating information, awareness raising, and technical support materials. Training of staff, as I told you, to provide advisory services and business transfer, and special programs to support, especially to support business transfer in the farming sector. That is very critical for our region and is very critical for many other regions around Europe. We cannot allow to have the rural area disappear. And the business disappear, rural area will disappear. That is a reality. So we need to work and implement policies to protect and defend the businesses to stay there and even to be attractive, rural areas to attract it for new businesses. Just to illustrate this, next slide, I don't know, next. Yeah, before I close, I just want to illustrate it very fast. This case, then we are interacting with this young man. This young man came to where his family, and he was living in a rural area, not very far away from Sevilla, like 1 hour away from Sevilla, came to study to the capital, engineering. And then after working here in the capital, he decided to move back to his town. Very hard because they are very high unemployment rates and no job for him as an engineer. But his parents were becoming old. His parents actually were producing tomatoes, not like the other partners, but they were producing tomatoes. They're working very hard all their life, sell their tomatoes to the cooperative. They never have control over the management of the company because all the many policies about the production or the pricing of the tomatoes or the commercialization or everything is that was done for the cooperative. So he took over the business, still with their parents, both parents, and he noticed that he needs to implement a new line of business within the company, not only to produce, to sell the cooperative. So he learned that his mother has a very nice recipe. He loved the recipes for tomato sauces, and he started to doing this. And now his business is very successful. He's selling his tomato sauces all around the world. He's exporting by implementing digitalization, but attracting knowledge to his company and making a lot of change and being innovative. And of course, always something that is very good, the quality of this young man, is he looks for the support of experts. And the parents, of course, are very happy. They know then their business will stay for a long time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Manuel. It was really great to hear your insights also with the tomato sellers, and we all learn now how to become better tomato sellers in rural areas when you have more knowledge about how to run a business actually. So I think we can take your best practice and transfer to other rural areas as well in Europe. So last but not least, our last partner to present today is from Slovenia, Nevis. You've been there. Hello.
Yes.
I've
Hi,
already
hi.
seen you early this morning being here with us. Very nice. And you have an important issue, which is financing, because financial instruments are at the core of any business transfer. So everybody needs help with finances. So I'm looking forward to you and your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, last but not least, and very important topic that we discussed during the STOB region project was financing instruments to support business transfer. Anna, can we switch the slides, please? Thank you. So why we need finances? Of course, to buy off share of the company. In some of our project partners region countries, it's still very common that parents, or let's say the first generation, just gift the share of company to the successors, which is really nice. But then we have a problem because parents usually don't have enough money to enjoy their well-deserved retirement. The second very important reason is, of course, to support the dangerous process, or better say, phase of company's evolution, because this is really, as we saw, the statistics are really horrible. It's the company is really fragile phase of evolution, and we need to support it also with financial funds. Of course, to support successors in their new role, on their new path. Maybe they want to modernize the company, maybe they want to change something, and of course they need funds for doing that. And last, and the most important part, which is the core of all our activities, not just in the STOB regions project, but in our countries, is to ensure business and jobs continuity. This is why we are doing the effort. Anna, can we change it? What kind of funds do we have? Well, it differs from project partner to project partner, from country to country. Usually these are loans, or better said, growth loans, with some reduced interest rate. So they are not really commercial loans, but they are or substantially lower interest rates. Other funds that are possible are different guarantees, so that the state or EU or country helps to guarantee for different loans, because usually family businesses don't have such a big equity to do it. The most wanted but not very commonly found are grants, non-refundable funds that can help family businesses to support during the process and after also the business transfer. In some countries we found vouchers. Usually they are meant to support the process by co-financing the external experts that are needed in the process. And the best, of course, is combination of all, which is not really common, but it's a wish of all the project partners to have something like that in our countries. Anna, can we move it, please? Thank you. So let's see, green smiling, big smiling faces, of course, are Germany, Denmark, and Finland in project partner in Project STOB, because they all have some specific financial funds to support business transfer. In Poland and in Slovenia, we have vouchers, which kind of help in the process, but there are not specific funds that would help family businesses to run after the business transfer. And Bulgaria, Spain, and Romania doesn't have specific funds to support this process yet. I'm sure we are all working really hard toward doing that, toward gaining some financial funds to support this succession. And with all the topics that we talked about it before, I'm sure we raised enough awareness that in the next financial perspective, all the countries will find some funds to support this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Nevis. That was a really rough overview, but very interesting to see the different financial means we have to support business transfers. And I think we have had lots of information after all these nice presentations now. And we would like to integrate now a kind of interactive activity for you to participate in a poll we have prepared on mentimeter.com. And the question for the poll is for you to think again about what have you learned in the STOB Regions project? What were the most important lessons? What was the inspiration you're taking with you for your future life or your future business transfers? So please think about 3 ideas that are really meaningful to you, that were now discussed within STOB Regions, and write them in the Mentimeter. You will find now a slide where you can see the link of the Mentimeter and also the code that you can use. It will be really interesting to see in the end a kind of Wordle with different terms. So please write in English, that we all have the same language for sure. And in the end of our closing session, like in 1 hour, we will then have a look again at this Mentimeter and see what you wrote there, or the majority of you. In the meanwhile, if you still need some inspiration, we have prepared for you videos with high-ranking representatives of our countries that will now follow. We have videos from Denmark, Poland, Bulgaria, Slovenia, Spain, and Germany. So be welcome to now have a look at what the high-ranking representatives are saying about STOB Regions, and we will meet after these videos again for our STOB moments that we will share together. So enjoy the videos.
My name is Mogens. I was a project manager for the first 3 years of the STOB Regions program. I ended up finally making the report with the recommendations for the region, how to take succession further in the region. The main benefit of STOB Regions has been the workshops and the good practices. At the workshops, we did exchange experience and knowledge and good practices among all the partners in the STOB project. The key challenge in the beginning was that we all came from very different regions. So we did spend quite some time to understand the difficulties in the different regions. At the end, and maybe you could say on the other hand, that has been also the strength into the project. I think that the main challenge is the follow-up locally in the regions, that you get the experience and the good practices out and work. From the project, we learned especially some good practices. We were actually capable to make a report with specific recommendations and experiences to be used locally in the region. One of the methods or one of the experiences, good practices that should gain more attention into succession in our region is actually a spin-off of the report At the time, we have a program running here in our region, which offers a voucher for companies and also a scheduled program for either mental preparation of the own leader to get started, but also more technical support to how to get ready for the succession.
We achieve a huge amount of benefits from this project. Let me mention just some of them. First of all, we expanded our knowledge of succession. We met many professionals who shared their expertise. They showed their schedules, listing the key areas that should be taken into account when conducting the succession process. They gave us some practical tools that we can use in our work. Secondary, we got familiar with the best practices. We had a great opportunity to listen to some successors who shared their experience. They presented their own case studies and showed very clearly what worked and what didn't work in their cases. They shared the best solutions and warned us against common mistakes. And last but not least, we built some very interesting, very valuable relationships. We met extremely valuable people, professionals, experts, practitioners, consultants, and partners who struggle with problems similar to ours. These relationships are priceless. We can always contact the partners and ask for their advice and consultation. Thanks to this project, we gain a lot of knowledge, collect the best practices, and established fruitful relationships. Now we feel stronger and well prepared to support entrepreneurs in business transfer and succession in Małopolska. At the beginning of the project, we faced several challenges. One of them was the international community. The project partners represented different regions with unique cultures and variety of experience in succession and business transfer. We came from a range of cultural and economic backgrounds. So the first challenge was to work out common principles of cooperation and try to understand the partners' approach. The second challenge was the lack of awareness of the importance of succession among Małopolska entrepreneurs. Few of them thought about succession in their businesses. Our challenge then was to disseminate the idea of succession and business transfer and show them benefits of carrying out the succession process in an appropriate manner. Although we've achieved most of our goals, there are still some challenges ahead. During the pandemic, SMEs focused on crisis management and succession became a secondary topic. Our challenge now is to maintain the entrepreneurs' interests in succession by continuing promotion, sharing knowledge, and giving them the professional support they need. There are also other challenges related to persuading SMEs to cooperate more closely with us. We try to encourage them to think about transferring the business in advance, to discuss their individual threats and identify the specific needs in order to develop tailor-made solutions. That's why we have taken up the new challenge, adapting the best practices from partner regions to Polish realities. Social and economic differences make it impossible to implement foreign solutions without proper adaptation. While there are still many challenges, it has to be admitted that our efforts are paying off. So we are motivated to continue working in this area.
Здравейте, уважаеми участници! Благодаря ви, че ми давате думата. За мен е удоволствие да застана пред вас. Аз съм Добрина Проданова, председател на Търговско-промишлената камара на град Пловдив от 32 години. Ние високо оценяваме съдържанието и значението на проекта, по който работихме. За нас беше удоволствие да работим с екипа, водещия екип в Пловдив по този проект, но съдържанието на проекта има особено значение и ние много високо оценяваме това значение. Защо? Защото докато в Европа можем да посочим фирми, които работят от 150 години и спазват традиции, предават предприемаческата дейност от бащи, от дядовци, на бащи и на синове, в България, в Източна Европа въпросът не стои така. Имаше едно прекъсване заради смяна на режимите и не можем да посочим фирми с традиции от 150 години като собственост на определени предприемачи. А трябваше да възпитаваме хората в предприемачески дух, а те трябваше да възпитават своите деца и внуци за това, че да продължават работата, да запазят традициите, да получат квалификация, да станат предприемачи, които не само да работят за вътрешния пазар на износ. Всичко това изисква една нова политика. Всичко това изискваше развитие, възпитание, за да може да се постигне квалификация на хората, за да се запазят традициите и те да продължат. Това е значението на този проект. Той е и психологически, и организационен, и социален. Затова е много важно да продължават в такъв темп, в такова съдържание развитието и да има и други такива проекти, защото хората, които работиха, са вече достатъчно опитни и квалифицирани и това е гаранцията, за да продължи работата с още по-големи успехи. Благодаря ви за вниманието.
Практическите ползи от този проект кореспондират директно с устойчивото развитие на регионите, конкурентоспособността на малкия и средния бизнес, повишаване на жизнения стандарт на населението и други важни макроекономически показатели. Защото устойчивото развитие е доказано в изследванията, включително и на съществуващия проект, че устойчивото развитие се свързва не само с стартирането на нови бизнеси, колкото с запазването и продължаването на съществуващите бизнеси в съответния регион. Именно поради това е една от най-важните причини за стартирането на този проект в 9 региона на Европейския съюз. Освен това, според проведени изследвания в рамките на проекта, опазването на предприятията от малкия и средния бизнес имат по-голямо въздействие върху работните места и регионалния растеж и тяхната успеваемост е по-висока от тези на стартиращите предприятия.
Нека първо да започнем от това, че наследих фирма, която се занимава с търговия на едро и дребно. Наследих и от баща ми. И опитът ми е свързан с това, че първо от малък съм наблюдавал как се развива търговията и самата фирма, как се изгражда и се наложи така, че аз да я продължа. И всъщност самото наследяване на бизнеса, то не е събитие, не е нещо, което се случва в момента, то е един процес на обучение, на изучаване на материята и на спецификите за самия бизнес и след това вече поемане на отговорност и тръгване напред в така нареченото ръководене или управление на този бизнес. Трябва да си посветен и трябва да си отдаден. И като един наследник на бизнес, като един приемственик на бизнес, е хубаво човек първо да си постави въпроса дали иска да се занимава с това нещо и ако иска, да бъде отворен да получава от предшественика му, от този, който му предава бизнеса, съвети, да бъде отворен да чува и да дава от себе си не на 100, ами на 1000%.
А кои бяха основните предизвикателства в началото, с които се сблъскахте, трудностите по пътя, на утвърждаването на фирмата и с какво още трябва да се справят?
Проблемите и всъщност личните предизвикателства, с които така се срещнах, бяха от типа на това, че вече ти вземаш решенията и ти решаваш какво да се прави, избираш къде да инвестираш, как да насочиш портфолиото на фирмата, за да може инвестициите под всякаква форма да бъдат наистина печеливши и да носят доходност на теб, на фирмата и на служителите, които са в фирмата. Изключително важно е човек да бъде постоянно информиран и да търси нови възможности, както и този проект STOB, по който в момента говорим и ползите от него. Но най-трудното нещо беше това да се отървем от така наречения период на липса на доверие. Знаете, че повечето частни бизнеси в България започва след 90-те години, след така наречената политическа реформа и до тогава хората са настроени, че всеки иска да ме краде, всеки иска да ме лъжи. Оттам започват и повечето фирми, които са и до ден днешен. Нашата фирма е основана 1992 година, така че смея да твърдя, че е една от тези фирми. И всъщност това да имаме доверие на хората и на фирмите, които са извън нашият кръг и нашият обсек. Това ще рече откриването на нови хоризонти, инвестирането в нови дялове на бизнеса, така да го наречем. И другото нещо, което беше по-трудно, в началото беше липсата на обучение. Всъщност, че трябва да се намери място, където да може човек да бъде обучен за това как да прави бизнес. Защото, както знаем и както чуваме по семинари, бизнеса не си ти и фирмата не си ти.
The main benefit of project for our agency is cooperation with institutions in local and national level. We transfer good practices to Slovenia, for example, voucher system, workshops for family businesses, and development of financial instruments.
Key challenge in Slovenia in the beginning was that nobody knew anything about succession. What remains, how to motivate our companies, our entrepreneurs to start acting in time about business transfer. We were really impressed by the financial products that other partners have in their countries, and we really want to implement something similar in Slovenia too. Usually commercial banks don't understand the needs of family businesses, and with the financial product co-financed by EU and or Slovenia, we could really help and motivate family businesses to start transferring their ownership. We could help the second generation, and we could maybe rise the successful rate of business succession.
The Andalusian community has been a leader in entrepreneurship for quite a few years. Andalusia represents 25% of the total entrepreneurship population in Spain. However, one thing is having a good idea and another is being successful. That's why in Andalusia Emprende we are working with two objectives in mind: to provide entrepreneurs, self-employed workers and with useful services. I mean services that really meet their customer needs as a key to helping develop their businesses ideas. Today, we are facing two main challenges. First, a world crisis not seen before, which is bringing us a new scenario where entrepreneurship and becoming digital are the more important things. Secondly, our production system, which is made up of self-employed people and micro-enterprises. Considering these two elements, the Council for Employment and Andalusia Emprende are working hard to overcome two great challenges: to offer useful services to those people who really need it, and to help sectors in a very bad situation in this pandemic to reactivate their activities and employment. For that reason, we have designed Reinicia, a fine example of public-private partnership to help entrepreneurs and people that are running their own business or losing their jobs to reinvent themselves. Andalucía Emprende has a long story as a partner in European projects, sharing good practices and initiatives to activate entrepreneurship. Thanks to our to do the following: knowing how entrepreneurship abroad is like, sharing our know-how, and expanding our networks to other ecosystems. In short, we would like to keep on growing and improving. Right now, we are working on improving the efficiency of our services so that they can meet the real demands of entrepreneurs and self-employed, in other words, our core clients. To reach that goal, Andalucía Emprende needs to go through a digital transformation based on utility and the value we provide to entrepreneurs. In my opinion, it will be inclusive, cooperative, collective, with a purpose. Because only as a close-knit community, interconnecting our skills, our experiences, and our talent, we will be able to provide answers to the present and the future challenges.
I think the biggest challenge to make the people aware of the problem itself. Those who are the CEOs or entrepreneurs of the first generation after reunification, they are about to retire at the moment. The self-reflection that is probably appropriate to pass on the business to someone else is not very obvious to everybody because there's a lot of emotions involved. And so despite the fact that we have a number of means to support these people, they were actually not called for with a high frequency because of the big reservation to tackle that problem itself. And I think we have made some reasonable progress there, but at the beginning it was very, very difficult. The advantage which we do have by now is that we do have model cases to present which could or which help to convince the people to make use of the supporting activities which we are providing. Yeah? So it becomes more tangible for the people, more perceptible. And so I think those cases which have been handled quite well and which can now be used as model cases, they make a big difference to the past. The second thing is that the lack of skilled workers in Brandenburg has become more obvious. That means it makes it even more troublesome to run your own enterprise, which actually convinces some people to leave earlier than they were prepared to do it in the past, because they say it's the younger should tackle that problem. It's not the one I'm going to solve anymore. So there are quite a number of developments around that, but I think the best is that in the very end, a kind of atmosphere, a kind of ecosystem has developed that we want to maintain all these small and medium-sized businesses, that we want to stick to the industrialization of Brandenburg, and that gives those CEOs also the backing really to take this effort to handle the transfer. Well, the first thing is that we do have to acknowledge that we do not have enough young people to solve the lack of skilled workers in Brandenburg. So we have to acknowledge that we have to acquire these people and to attract these people from outside. Outside is a very indefinite wording, so that can actually mean your next door neighbor like Poland or other countries which are also involved in these kind of projects. So next door neighbors do play a role, but there is always the question, do we actually exploit that in terms of a brain drain to our advantage and to the disadvantage of the next door neighbor? So most of the time it's more favorable to look for these skilled workers in a greater distance. This, however, is usually accompanied with a different culture environment. And what I always say is that I'm absolutely prepared to act as the locomotive to look for these people, but this is the biggest challenge. Well, this is actually very, very easily to be answered by myself because my background is still some 20, 25 years in the field of science and universities. And there, perhaps we have even learned faster than other activities that you cannot solve the big challenges of today just on your own, that you have to do it together, that you have to learn from each other, that it is much more reasonable to make new mistakes than actually to repeat the mistakes others have already suffered from. And so I think that internationalization to tackle those problems of today, whether this is the work market, whether it's economical development, whether it's climate change, whether it's energy transformation, none of us will be able to solve one of these problems just by oneself. We need this international cooperation, and that's the value of the project.
Yes, I think this was a really nice final word our minister had just said. As cooperation is so important, networking is crucial, and we can be thankful in STOB regions that we had this support from our stakeholders on the different levels that are helping to implement the healthy ecosystem, which is useful for having business transfers in the different regions. I would like to remind you again of the Mentimeter, where you can leave your thoughts, your comments, what you think to be important. You know, in the chat, you see the what is written there still. And you see the link and everything. You can go there. And now I would like to go on with some part that will be, I think, really interesting and really fun as well, because we will talk about the last 5 years, about all your personal inspirations and insights you had, exciting, critical, inspiring, funny moments you have lived through with STOB regions. And we will ask all the different partners, what is your insight? Maybe just really short, can be just one sentence or one short story that you would like to share with us today. And we will start with our other German partners. So Birgit, we have already seen her today, and there is Michael as well. So we are looking forward to hear what you have lived in the last past years. Hi, there you are. Hello,
Hi.
Michael.
Hi, I guess. Well, then it's on me to start. Well, yeah, the last 5 years in this project were, in some parts, really incredible, because I've learned so many different things in a matter of heterogeneity of different regions. I remember as one really memorable adventure, the field trip in Plovdiv we had in freezing rain, but it was incredible to see the local community there and the interaction and the hands-on problems that this region faced. I really liked that, and I think that stuck with me a lot. The other challenges in different regions, also I think my personal learning curve in the project, from, I don't know, being idealistic and naive in the beginning to see, well, we can improve so many things all at once, and then realizing, well, it has to go step by step. This was something that was really a big learning experience for me in this project, and all in general, I had a great experience in this project. Thank you.
It's great. Thank you so much, Michael. What about you, Birgit? Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
But nothing to add
Nothing to add. So you completely agree with what
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. So we would like to go on with Spain. Manuel, we have already seen you just some minutes before. What was your impression?
Well, the key moment for us in the project was when I contact this national government. They have these programs, very poor, not very proactive program related to business transfer. And I contact them and share with him about the STOB program. And he got very excited. And more important, because his program didn't have much dissemination in the national level. And then I get in contact him, this gentleman from the national government, with the gentlemen from the regional governments, and they were part of our stakeholder group. And I encouraged them to participate, the regional governments to participate in the national program, and they signed an agreement, and all the services and the training materials and resources, and they were able to, the regional government was able to spread it around in all their offices in Andalusia. So that was a key moment for us, because we noticed that the regional government got excited about it, and realized the importance of business transfer and to support business transfer in the region. Thanks.
Thank you, Manuel. Let's go on with Finland. What you experienced, Markus, during the project lifetime? Well, it's still going on, but already you have met each other far more often than online and so on.
Yes, I think it's kind of difficult to pick up one moment, because I think the project was so great in professional terms. I mean, great professionals that I had pleasure to work with, but also we had lots of fun also. Maybe I would like to point out one achievement that we made as a project group. It took efforts from the advisory partner, the lead partner, maybe other partners as well. But when we were in charge of the communication and dissemination in the project. So when we managed to have a slot to speak at the SME assembly, and then also furthermore there was even one track in the event about business transfers. That was something that I feel that was achievement from the whole project also, and of course with a bit of luck that happened, and it was very great to have Sandy speaking there, and then also being part of the workshop on business transfers there. So that's maybe what I want to raise up. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I think this was a big event in Finland, and I think somebody else will talk about it later on as well, as far as I know. So what about our Bulgarian team there's Alexander, I think, who was there today. What were your nicest memories you're having with the project team?
There are many STOB moments, almost in every partnership meetings abroad. But I would like to stress that we are proud that we took part in the development of the new strategy of small and medium-sized enterprises, together with the Ministry of Economy and Bulgaria's SME Promotion Agency, together with Pricewaterhouse Bulgaria, and we developed the new strategy 21-27, and there are many measures there that will support transfer and succession of business. And that the family business is now recognized in Bulgaria, and it is included in the strategy. Of course, we developed a nice platform and many training modules that are used by our companies, let's say so.
Good, great achievements. Thank you so much.
Yes.
What about Vilazar? You have something to add?
Unfortunately, he takes part in Let's Cooperate in the next room.
Sorry. So it was
sorry.
your impressions. It's all fine for us.
Yes,
it's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Thank you so much, Alexander. We will go on with Slovenia. What about Nives and your colleagues?
Maybe I'll start, and I don't know if the director is still here. What I won't ever forget, well, when the disappointment on Manuel's face when Slovenian basketball team beat them and won European Championship. This was one of the most precious moments. But on more serious hand, well, before Stop Region project, nobody in Slovenia was talking about business transfer. And I think that also a Stop Region project made some small part that now the whole country is buzzing with it. So, yeah.
Really impressive. Thank you, Nieves.
Thank
you
you.
changed a whole country
Yeah.
perspective somehow. Yeah, it's good. In a small country, you can achieve a lot if you're doing something. That's good.
Yeah, we heard before that there were only 2 projects with business transfer in Interreg. Well, Slovenia participated in both, so there must be some change.
Wow.
Yes.
Inspiring. Very, very much impressive. Thank you. So now I would like to come to my colleagues who are sitting in the same room as me, and also our managing director who is here today, Peter Wölfling. Maybe also he would like to share some stop moments, but we can start again with Anna. You would like to start to say something? You're very short in the project, but anyway.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm really not so long in the Stop project, Stop Region project, but I'm happy to be here. And when I'm thinking about my stop moment, I have to say this is this conference actually. Together with my colleagues, especially with Sandy, we have been working very hard to organize this final event. Even yesterday, late evening, I was exchanging emails with some of you. So I'm really glad we could gather all together today and to summarize this 5 years of sharing experience between all partner regions. Yeah, thanks a lot. And maybe Sandy would like to say something.
Yes, I go together. Yes, I go together with Marcus, because also my stop moment when we had the opportunity and I was chosen as a speaker to present the project at the SME Assembly in Helsinki in 2019. As you know, the SME Assembly is the most important event for small and medium-sized enterprises in Europe. It takes place only once a year and is organized in collaboration with the European Commission. So there are a lot of people, a lot of experts, professional, high-level authorities, and yeah, business transfer was one of the core topics on the agenda of this event, and it was really, really exciting. Yeah, I thought I had to die for a moment to contribute to this event with our project.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Wölfling, you would like to share some moments with us? Spontaneously, just if you like.
Yes, thank you for participation in the conference and the interest in the thematics of business transfer. My special moments were the meetings with all partners, and also every partner or each partner stood for their region and was able to bring a variety of experience. And so we have very nice social meetings, social events that we can learn more about the region, about the activities, what they do. And I think we have learned it's so much to do in this thematics of business transfer that's for the future. I think it's very important to have to be in contact and to work together. And so my special moment is we have a very interesting network. We have worked together with respect and with engagement. And so I think it's for me, when we discuss about the Interreg Europe project, Stop Regions, I hope we find the partners, and in the end, I can say it was a very good result. Thank you to all.
Thank you, dear Mr. Wölfling. That was spontaneous, very nice. We still have 2 Annas left, I think. So first of all, the Romanian Anna. Would you like to share some moments with us?
Well, my STOB moment was the meeting in Romania where I met all of you, all the partners that participated to the meeting. It was very interesting. It introduced me into the consortium, and it was a start for me in the project. So far, this is my best STOB moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The start is very important always, to take the first step, and then you get inside the topic and everything. So, yeah. What about you, Anna, from Poland? Do you have something to share with us?
Yes, I remember a lot of moments. I remember sunrise in Seville, winter in Bulgaria, Esbjerg Harbor. But one of the most memorable moments was in Germany, when the owner of Successor in some company where we was with the visit showed his respectful attitude toward the heritage. For me, it was first visit, and I remember this visit the most. Another inspirational moment took place in Denmark during the panel discussion where young men describing with passion local transfer network. And now we have a local transfer network in Małopolska. And last but not least, it's an extraordinary moment for me personally, because when we hosted our partners in Krakow. It was just before an amazing Christmas time, and we had a great opportunity to enjoy the project Christmas dinner with all the members of the project. So I remember these few moments the best. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Anna. I have so many pictures now in mind what you all lived together. You have so many memories, nice memories, Christmas in Krakow and then in Seville and everywhere in Europe you have been together. So I hope you will continue for sure to cooperate and to share your experiences all over these European countries. Is there anybody else who wants to share something that I have not mentioned now? No, not so far. Okay, so we come closely to the end of our event today. I would again like to ask you if there are some questions left still. Somebody has on his mind all the time. Are there some chats, questions that need to be answered, my colleagues? Not so far? Everybody satisfied? Okay. So if there are no questions furthermore, we can slowly have a look maybe already at the Mentimeter and see what you have answered there. It will be very interesting. And then I will give the word over to Sandy, who will have a last final comments on our event today. So nice meeting you so far, and we will see what has been written already.
Yeah, well, after all these information statements and impressions, I was very keen to see the Mentimeter results. So to know just what did you learn, what was maybe new for you, or what will you take home from this conference. So I think the result is not very surprising, but of course very interesting. Awareness is very big. Is very big written in the center of the slide. So I think here is we have one big point for all the partner regions. And I think it becomes obvious that there still remain several challenges related to business transfer in all our partner regions. But I'm also convinced that we all know what are the best next step for every one of us. Yeah, and here I'm just already in the middle of my very, very short closing speech. 9 partners from 8 European regions have spent now 5 years together to exchange experiences and to learn from each other. Each partner did their best to advance their region, to find good practices to transfer to their region and to achieve progresses for their region. We are all committed to be active part in the action plan implementation for our regions. But besides the efforts for our regions, this interregional cooperation has also contributed to bringing European regions closer to one another, getting to know and to understand other cultures. I fondly remember every single partner meeting, thick fog in Kajani, Christmas atmosphere in Krakow and Seville, the walk through Plovdiv with a visit in a family business distillery, our nightly walk to the sea in Esbjerg. These are all stop moments for me, connected to wonderful persons. Thank you, partners, and thank you also Interreg Europe for making this possible. A special thanks goes to our academic advisory partner, Michael and Birgit. From the beginning on, they are our experts, our professionals, our mentors, our brain with a big heart and a lot of patience. Thank you, Birgit and Michael. And now, on behalf of all the project partners, many, many thanks to our panel discussants, Lucina Kaminska, Albert Colomer, Dr. Mark Evers and Thomas Bujak. Thank you so much. Thank you to Doro, our great moderator. You have been really a perfect job today. And of course, thank you to the audience who followed the conference from outside. And now I would like to give the floor to our Managing Director, Peter Wölfling.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you for your interest and participation in this conference. Today's conference confirmed the joint meetings and the exchange of information and experience is a successful approach to dealing with the topic of business transfer. And the exchange and the committed participation of all partners and many stakeholders made the results what today presented in the conference, and I'm very grateful that we have shown these results. They are possible with founding from the Interreg Europe program. And my special thanks go to Sandy Morgan. He's a perfect leader of the project. There is a summary of all partners. And also, Sandy told our partners, Birgit and Michael from the University of Economics and Law, they have the brain and they have the spirit, what we can do for methods and instruments in the workshops. Thank you so much for your support. And I'm sure that there's still to do in the future in the topic of business transfer. And let's continue working together in this topic. And I hope we have many possibilities in the future to look for new projects together and with other partners to exchange what are the possibilities and what can we support for the entrepreneurships and for a good ecosystem. And many thanks to Dorothea for the professional moderation. Thank you. And be healthy. Stay healthy.
Yeah, thank you as well for all your participation. And so we hopefully see each other one day in Frankfurt or in Berlin or somewhere in real person. And yeah, stay healthy so far and enjoy good Christmas time, all of you. And yeah, keep on cooperating in the future. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Take care. In this
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.